Because of why I search the deep through endless nights, no time to sleep. The call inside I can't deny. I'll find the light because of why.
Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a really unique financial friendship, one that lets you spend one country's money in another, no questions asked. It's pretty cool.
Okay, just picture this for a second. You're on vacation, you're in another country. You go to buy a coffee, pull out your wallet, and you just pay. That's it. No frantic mental math, no fiddling with exchange rate apps, no weird fees. Your money just works. Sounds like a total dream, right?
Well, for the folks in Singapore and Brunei, it's not a dream at all. It's just reality, and it has been for over 50 years. You heard that right. One Singapore dollar is worth exactly one Brunei dollar. Always. I mean, you can literally take a fistful of Singapore cash, hop over to Brunei, and spend it. And it works the other way around too. It's just that simple. So, the big question is, why? How on earth did this incredible partnership even start? And maybe even more important, how has it managed to last this long? Well, the answer is a fascinating story. Let's get into it. All right, to get the full picture, we've got to go back way back, before Singapore and Brunei even had their own unique currencies. We're talking about a time when one single dollar ruled the entire region. So, back in the day, everyone was using the same money, the Malaya and British Borneo dollar. This made everything super simple. Trade, travel, you name it, between what we now call Singapore, Malaysia, and Brunei. It was a piece of cake. They were basically a single economic zone, way before that was even a trendy term. Now, as these nations gained their independence, they kind of thought, hey, this one money thing is working out pretty well for us. So in 1967, they made a pact, a three-way agreement to keep their brand new currencies, the Singapore dollar, the Malaysian dollar, and the Brunei dollar, totally interchangeable. But well, as you can see from this timeline, that happy arrangement was about to hit a major bump in the road. So what happened? I mean, why did this perfect little three-way partnership suddenly implode? Well, the answer has everything to do with a massive financial earthquake that basically shook the entire globe back in 1973. You see, in the early 70s, the whole world of money just got turned on its head. The US dollar suddenly wasn't backed by gold anymore, and the whole system of fixed exchange rates that had kept things stable for years, it just fell apart. All of a sudden, it was every country for itself, which meant some really tough choices had to be made. And in this brand new, pretty chaotic world, Malaysia and Singapore hit a fork in the road. They found themselves on completely different economic paths. Malaysia, was focusing on its natural resources, things like rubber and tin. But Singapore? They were going all in on becoming a global finance hub. So Malaysia decided it needed the freedom to control its own money to get where it wanted to go. And just like that, they backed out of the deal, leaving Singapore and Brunei to figure out what to do next. And wow, what a partnership it turned out to be. Let's talk about the incredible benefits that have kept this one-of-a-kind financial pinky promise going strong for more than half a century.
I mean, this deal has been a total game changer for both countries. For businesses, it gets rid of the headache of exchange rate risks, which makes trade and investment so much easier. And for Brunei, which is super dependent on oil, tying its currency to the rock-solid Singapore dollar, that's like having the ultimate financial safety net. Investors love it. And for you and me, it just makes travel and shopping way, way simpler.
And make no mistake, this isn't some casual handshake deal. This is a legally binding pact, fully backed by the central banks of both nations. They're required by law to accept and swap each other's money one for one with zero fees. It's about as rock-solid a guarantee as you can get.
And get this, they don't just stick to the agreement, they celebrate it. To mark the 50th anniversary, they put out these absolutely gorgeous commemorative $50 bills. Just look at the design. You've got flowers from both countries all intertwined. It's just a perfect symbol of their amazing growing friendship.
Okay, so we know that governments and the banks are all on board, but what about in real life, like on the ground? If you're at a night market in Brunei and try to pay with a Singapore $10 bill, does it actually work? Let's get into the nitty-gritty of it.
All right, this is where things get super interesting. There's this tiny but really important legal difference. So in Singapore, the Singapore dollar is what's called legal tender. That means businesses have to accept it by law. But the Brunei dollar, that's called Customary Tender, which basically means it's widely accepted because that's the custom. But technically, a business doesn't have to take it, and the same thing is true in reverse over in Brunei.
So, does this little distinction actually cause any issues in the real world? The answer is almost never. But that tiny bit of legal wiggle room does mean that, in theory, a shopkeeper could say, nope, not taking that.
And here's a perfect example of that from Reddit. Someone shared a story where a cashier in Singapore who was new to the country tried to turn down a Brunei note. And what happened? Her manager came over and basically gave her a lecture right there on the spot. It just goes to show you, even though it's almost universally accepted, you can get these little hiccups, usually just because someone isn't in the know.
So if you're ever traveling between the two, here are a few real-world tips. 99% of places, from night markets to big shopping malls, will take both currencies no problem at all. Just, make sure your bills aren't all ripped up. Oh, and here's a really weird one. For whatever reason, the Singapore $1 coin is pretty much not accepted in Brunei. I don't know why. It's just one of those things.
When you really think about it, what we're looking at here is so much more than just a currency deal. It's proof of a deep friendship, built on shared history and a whole lot of mutual trust. In a world that's often full of economic drama, this quiet, solid partnership is, well, it's just a remarkable example of what can happen when two countries decide to trust each other.
It really gets you thinking, doesn't it? In a world that feels more divided than ever, this whole story is a powerful reminder that cooperation can be its own kind of currency. It makes you wonder, what other impossible partnerships could we create if we just took a page from their book?
So, what do you think? Have you ever actually used Singapore dollars in Brunei or the other way around? We'd love to hear about it. Tell us your stories in the comments. And hey, if you enjoyed this deep dive, do us a favor and hit that like button, share it with a friend, and subscribe for more.
Thanks for hanging out with us on The Explainer. Until next time, stay curious.